Hi, my name's Livy. I'm 17, and I'm not the type of girl people notice. Not really. I've never had drama with friends, never been the center of a rumor, never had a hallway moment where someone shouted my name. Until I did. What happened? It wasn't an accident. I wish I could say it just got out of hand, but no. I started it. I lit the match. And I thought I'd feel powerful. I thought it would fix something. Instead, it wrecked everything. People think I'm the victim. That's the worst part. Hey, before we dive in, take a second, yeah? Get comfortable. This one's a little personal. If you're into stories that don't go the way you expect, maybe hit like or subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And if you've got a second, drop a comment. What would you have done if you were me? I'm honestly curious. The first time Caden Melrose spoke to me, I almost didn't realize it was happening. I was tucked into the corner of the gym, half hiding behind a glittering paper pumpkin, when his voice cut through the buzz of the Halloween dance. "You always hang back like that?" he asked, like it was normal to approach someone dressed as a library ghost. I blinked. "Like what?" "Like you're at the party, but not in it." He smiled, not mocking, just curious. I remember the blue glow from the DJ lights tracing the line of his jaw. Caden was one of those guys who could have had anyone. Everyone knew his voice from the school podcast. Smart, chill, funny in a way that made you want to impress him. But there he was, talking to me like it wasn't a dare. That was the beginning. What followed felt like a glitch in the system. People started remembering my name. Caden held my hand in the cafeteria once, and a junior dropped her tray. Girls who'd never spoken to me were asking if we were a thing. I laughed like I was part of the joke, except I wasn't laughing inside, because deep down I kept waiting for it to break. Caden was too everything, too kind, too calm. He didn't post thirst traps. He remembered I hated strawberry soda and brought me orange Gatorade instead. He kissed my forehead after a debate meet and said I made him better, and it scared the hell out of me. What if he wasn't real? What if he was just like everyone else and I was the fool who got played late? That's when the idea started. Just a small one, a flicker, a way to be sure, a test, something to prove he was really mine. And like most terrible ideas, it didn't feel that way at first. The idea started in the computer lab. Third period, fluorescent lighting buzzing overhead, Mr. Chalmers trying to explain why our fictional startup pitches needed a minimum viable product. I was barely listening. My fingers hovered above the keyboard, heartbeat ticking louder than his lecture. The lab screen glowed white. New tab, new account, username, Emila Gray 111 profile pic, a sun-drenched selfie I stole from some wellness blog. I gave her pale blue eyes, a lazy smile, hair like she didn't care and everyone else did. She was everything I wasn't. It was just supposed to be a poke, a nudge to see what Caden would do, not even a real trap. I figured he'd ignore it, laugh about it with me later, maybe even feel flattered. Mila messaged him that night. "Hey, do I know you from somewhere? Send. Thought I saw you at the podcast panel last week. You were kinda magnetic. Send." My heart pounded like I'd done something criminal. No response for a day. 2. I almost dropped it. Then came a single ping. "Who is this?" He'd answered. I stared at those 3 words like they were a confession, but there was nothing flirtatious in his tone, just curiosity. Still, that was enough. Enough for the thought to twist deeper. What if he didn't stop? I kept it going, carefully. Mila wasn't flirty, not obviously. She was just impressed, laughing at things he posted, asking about the podcast, giving just enough. And Caden, he was polite, distant, sure, but present. "You're not like most guys," she wrote once. He replied, "Is that supposed to be a compliment?" Then added, "I'm not really up for chat, but good luck out there." I screenshotted that one anyway. The next day, I showed the messages to Jules during lunch. She scrolled through them in silence, her black nail polish chipped from stress biting. "I don't get it," she finally said. This feels off. What do you mean? These don't read like cheating. At all. She looked at me. Are you going to tell me what this really is? My throat went dry. You think I made it up? Jules didn't answer right away, just stared at me with that look, the one people give when they've seen too much of you to lie politely. I snatched my phone back. It doesn't matter. He still responded. Jules opened her mouth, then closed it. Be careful, Liv. But it was too late. In my mind, I'd already decided, if he cared, truly cared, he would have blocked her instantly. He didn't. That meant something, didn't it? The school auditorium always smelled like sawdust and hairspray. I used to find it comforting. The old wood stage, the tangle of light cables above, the velvet seats with broken armrests. But that night, waiting in the wings during intermission, the place felt like a trap. Caden was out front, still in his blazer from hosting the spring music showcase. He looked calm, collected, reading off cue cards like the stage belonged to him. Laughter echoed after one of his intros. I was already rehearsing my lines. As soon as the curtain dropped for the break, I grabbed his sleeve, dragging him behind the choir risers. We need to talk. He blinked, surprised but not alarmed. Is everything okay? Not really. I held up my phone, screen glowing with the screenshots. Mila's name, his replies. Caden stared for a beat, then took the phone gently from my hand, read through each message, then looked at me, not angry, not even annoyed, just confused. Wait, you think this is cheating? You didn't shut it down. He raised an eyebrow. I literally told her I wasn't interested. You still talked to her. You knew she was into you. He paused, stepping back slightly. Is this someone you know? I don't need to know her, I snapped. I know what it means when a guy keeps the door open. His jaw clenched, just a flicker. Then, softly, Livy, are you telling me you catfished me to test me? My breath caught. I hadn't said it out loud, not even to myself. That's not what this is, I lied, but my voice cracked. I mean, if you wanted to know how I felt, why not just ask? His calm was unbearable. It made me feel even smaller. Before I could reply, footsteps echoed near the curtain. Jules appeared, holding a prop mic and a look that could cut glass. You guys okay? She asked, too casually. Her eyes went from me to Caden to the phone still in his hand. Everything's fine, I said quickly. Jules didn't buy it. You pulled that Mila stunt, didn't you? Caden turned to her. Wait, you knew? She told me, Jules said, voice sharp now. I thought it was a bad idea. Still do. I could feel my chest tightening, heat rising behind my eyes. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Caden handed me back the phone. His hand brushed mine, cold. I need to go finish the show. Then he walked away. No yelling, no accusations. Just silence. And that was worse than anything I'd imagined. By Monday, everything had shifted. Caden wasn't at his locker, not in the cafeteria. His usual table sat half empty, one of his friends muttering something about taking a break from the noise. I wanted to believe it was coincidence. Then the whispers started. Guess even podcast golden boys cheat. I heard he was talking to some girl from Fairview behind her back. He seemed too nice, you know, always fake smiling. The worst part? They weren't looking at him when they said it. They were looking at me, like I'd been the one wronged, like I was brave for speaking out. I didn't correct them, not once. Instead, I leaned into it, posted a black and white selfie with the caption, "Trust isn't something you just hand over. Some people break it without even trying." The likes rolled in, comments too. Ugh, men? You deserve better, girl. I knew he was sus. Validation buzzed in my hands like sugar. But then came the cafeteria. I slid into my usual seat next to Jules, tray clattering louder than I meant it to. She barely looked up from her apple slices. You really doing this? Doing what? Letting everyone think he cheated. She glanced sideways. Liv, this isn't cute anymore. I never said that. You didn't have to. I didn't answer. Across the room, someone laughed too loud. My stomach turned. Later that day, I passed Caden in the hallway. His face was calm, too calm. He didn't look mad. He looked hollow, like someone scraped the light out of him. I thought I could handle that. I was wrong. That night, I saw a story from one of the podcast crew, a blurry photo of Caden outside the principal's office, head down, his phone in his hand. The caption read, "Guess being wholesome doesn't cover your texts." He hadn't even done anything. Not really. I told myself that over and over. Not really. The guilt crawled in slowly, like cold water rising in a tub. I still didn't admit the full truth, not even to myself, but something about it felt different now. He wasn't fighting back. He wasn't posting. He wasn't explaining. He was disappearing, and in his place, I was being handed the narrative. People came to me like I was the survivor of something. They asked how I was holding up. I said things like, "I just didn't expect it from him," and they nodded, comforted. Jules didn't sit with me the next day. At lunch, her seat stayed empty, and somehow that hurt more than anything else. The spring festival was supposed to be soft. Pastel streamers, lemon bars, couples holding hands near the photo booth. I wore a mint sweater that my mom said brought out my eyes. Jules hadn't replied to any of my texts, but I still hoped. Hope was such a dumb emotion. I saw Caden near the main stage, stacking folding chairs with the tech crew. He looked thinner, tired. He didn't see me, or maybe he did, and chose not to. And then, it happened. Jules climbed onto the student mic stand without warning. She wore her debate blazer and the boots that clicked too loud in quiet rooms. "Hey," she said into the mic, drawing looks from a dozen different tables. "So I wasn't planning to speak today, but I've been sitting on something, and it's time." My throat clenched. I knew that tone. Jules didn't name me, didn't have to. I want to talk about what happens when people twist the truth for attention, about how lies don't just stain one person, they ripple, they spread, they ruin things that were actually good. Students were frozen, cups halfway to their mouths. "I had a friend," she went on, voice tighter now, "who felt invisible, so she made herself seen. But instead of speaking honestly, she played a part, made someone else look like the villain, all for a reaction." Silence, then murmurs. On the screen behind the stage, synced with her phone, Jules projected a photo, a screenshot, my phone's settings page, the fake account, Myla Gray 111, the sign out option visible, my real name blurred but still readable for anyone who knew. I gasped, a sharp sound that felt like it tore something on its way out. Someone whispered near me, "Wait, was that Livy's?" I backed away, pulse in my ears, faces turned toward me. Caden was still by the chairs, watching. He didn't look smug or vindicated, just done, and that was worse. The mic clicked off. Jules stepped down without fanfare, eyes meeting mine only for a second. She didn't look angry. She looked tired. I walked past a cluster of juniors who parted like water. Through the festival lights, the bubbles, the camera flashes, I moved like I didn't exist again. Only this time I really didn't. I had erased myself, with my own lie, and no one clapped, no one followed. I didn't even cry. I just kept walking until the music sounded like static. Tuesday morning, the cafeteria hummed like usual. Soda fizz, sneaker squeaks, lockers slamming shut. But something was off. Or maybe it was just me who didn't fit anymore. I sat alone at the corner table by the windows. Sunlight hit the formica like it was trying to cheer me up. It didn't. No one joined me, not even to fake it. A few glanced my way, the kind of glance people give fire alarms. Quick, tight, alert. That morning, I heard two freshmen whispering near the juice machine. "Is that her? The one who faked the cheating thing? She looks normal." Yeah, that's how they always look. My tray stayed mostly untouched. The grilled cheese was rubbery. The apple had a bruise shaped like a thumbprint. I picked at it anyway. Every time the door opened, I checked. Part of me expected Jules. Another part hoped Caden. Neither came. At home, my mom asked why I was so quiet. I told her I was tired. She believed me, or maybe didn't want to push. That night, she left a slice of peach pie outside my room like I was 6 again. I didn't eat it. Just watched it wilt under the hallway light until I finally threw it out. The next day in English, Mr. Wallace assigned a class reading, Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist. Find a passage that feels like it's about you, he said. Then read it aloud tomorrow. Perfect. At lunch, I walked past my old table. Caden was there, alone, headphones on, typing something. He didn't look up. I wanted to say something, anything. Instead, I walked faster. That night, I opened my notebook for the first time in weeks. Not for a fake account, not to script a scene, just to write. It came out raw, a mess. Dear Caden, I know sorry doesn't fix what I did. I know you probably hate the sound of my name right now. But I need you to know it wasn't about hurting you. It was about hating myself. I felt small. You made me feel big. And I ruined that because I didn't trust it was real. I folded the page 3 times and stared at it. No idea if I'd ever give it to him. But for once the words felt real. And maybe that was a start. Winnie. Mr. Wallace called my name third. My palms were sweating. The paperback felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Everyone else had chosen quotes about destiny or love. Safe, neutral, not me. I stood up, cleared my throat. When someone makes a decision, I began, he is really diving into a strong current that will carry him to places he had never dreamed of when he first made the decision. I didn't read it like a performance. I read it like a bruise. The class was quiet, not out of politeness, but attention. For once, no one laughed, no one whispered. Even Jules looked up from her notebook. I sat down without meeting anyone's eyes, just tried to breathe. My pulse had shifted to my ears. After class, as I was gathering my things, someone tapped my shoulder. Caden. I heard what you read, he said. His voice was low, tired, but not harsh. I turned slowly. Yeah? He shrugged. Good choice. And just like that, he left. No lecture, no speech, just those 2 words. That afternoon, I waited until the library emptied out, then slipped the letter onto the returns desk. Ms. Calder, the librarian, didn't even look up from her cataloging. Is this for someone? She asked. Caden Melrose, for his podcast work, I said quickly. She nodded and tucked it under a clipboard. I nearly bolted. The rest of the day passed like fog. I didn't check my phone. I didn't scroll. I didn't post. I just existed. It was unfamiliar. That night I sat on the floor beside my bed and waited for nothing. No miracle, no redemption arc, just stillness. At 10:11 p.m., a text buzzed in. Unknown number, but I knew it was him. It wasn't long. Just, I read your letter. Thanks for saying what you did. I needed to hear it. I'm still figuring things out, but I appreciate the honesty. That means something. I stared at it for a long time. He hadn't forgiven me. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I had spoken, and he had listened. And that tiny flickering light, the kind that doesn't blind but guides, finally appeared in the dark. The podcast dropped at 8 a.m. sharp. I wasn't even planning to listen. I'd barely slept. My phone buzzed nonstop before homeroom. Texts, DMs, 2 missed calls from a number I didn't recognize. Check the episode. Is that your letter? Girl. I tapped play in the bathroom stall near the art wing, the only place I knew I could be alone. The intro music rolled, that mellow beat Caden always used. Then his voice, clear and steady, filled the space. Today's episode is different. No guests, no segments, just a letter someone gave me. I got permission to share it, anonymously, but I think a lot of people need to hear this. He cleared his throat, then read, I know sorry doesn't fix what I did. I know you probably hate the sound of my name right now. But I need you to know it wasn't about hurting you. It was about hating myself. My breath caught on every word. He didn't skip the raw parts, didn't sweeten it, but his tone never mocked. Just before the end, he paused again. I didn't expect to get this, and I didn't expect it to matter as much as it did. But it did, and maybe someone listening is carrying guilt or shame or pride that's keeping them from saying what they need to say. So here's your sign. Say it. The music faded in. I sat frozen, knees drawn up, phone on my lap. Outside the stall, girls came and went, laughing, gossiping, washing their hands. I stayed put. It wasn't just that he read the letter. It was how. No blame, no revenge. He used my mistake to show grace, not for me, but for everyone. At lunch, I didn't expect anything, but something shifted. People still didn't crowd me, but they didn't flinch either. A few made eye contact. One girl from orchestra gave me a soft nod. Someone else left a sticky note on my locker. Respect for owning it. Caden didn't text again, didn't speak to me that day, but when I passed him in the hallway between gym and the library, our eyes met, and he nodded. Not a greeting, not goodbye, just recognition, and somehow that was everything. I wasn't going to the spring dance. I'd told myself 1,000 excuses. Too tired, nothing to wear, who even cared anymore? But the truth was, I didn't want to see my reflection in the mirror and wonder if people were looking because of what I'd done or who I used to be. Then, at 6:17 p.m., I pulled the mint sweater off its hanger. It didn't make me feel pretty, just honest. By the time I got to the gym, the lights were low and strung with paper lanterns. A girl in the corner was crying from too much soda. Someone had already spilled punch, and the speakers buzzed slightly out of sync. It was perfect. I stood by the wall, breathing in the vanilla of cheap candles and sweat. The slow song faded, and the MC's voice boomed from the stage. "We're doing something new tonight. Open mic moment. You got something to say? Grab the spotlight." A few people clapped half-heartedly. One guy joked into the mic and got booed off. Laughter rolled across the dance floor. Then someone else stepped up. Caden. No blazer, just a dark green tee, worn jeans, and that quiet confidence that used to terrify me. He adjusted the mic, looked around, found me, and then spoke. "I wasn't going to say anything tonight," he began, "but I've been thinking a lot about the difference between moving on and moving forward." People leaned in. We all mess up. We all break things, sometimes even good things. But what I've learned is, forgiveness isn't about letting someone off the hook. It's about letting yourself breathe again. There was no music, no soundtrack, just his voice, calm and sharp at once. So if you're holding on to something, anger, shame, pride, maybe this is your sign to let go. I did, and it made space for peace. He stepped back. No applause cue, just silence, then clapping. Slow, then rising. Not wild, but real. Caden walked off stage. I didn't follow, didn't need to. I stood still, pulse steady for the first time in months. No part of me wanted a fairy tale now. I wanted this: truth, humility, space to grow. Someone brushed past me gently, their hand barely touching mine. Caden. No words exchanged. I turned slightly, and he smiled. Not a promise, but something better. A beginning. The library smelled like old paper and dust-filtered sunlight. I sat alone in the podcast room, the one with the scratched-up desk and a foam wall Caden had once tried to fix with hot glue. The red recording light blinked softly above the door. The mic felt heavier than I expected, not in weight, in silence. I hit record. "Hi," I said. "It's Livy." My voice came out clearer than I thought it would. This isn't a regular episode. No edits, no cuts, just me. A deep breath. I've been quiet most of my life, not out of shyness, just habit. When you stay in the background long enough, people stop expecting you to speak, and you start believing that silence is safer. I shifted in the chair, the vinyl squeaking. But sometimes silence hurts more than honesty ever could, especially when you use it to hide from what you've done. I paused, fingers curled in my lap. A few months ago, I made a mistake. I wanted to feel seen so badly, I twisted a truth into a lie. I hurt someone good, and I tried to hide behind that lie until it swallowed me. No tears, just breath. I lost people, and I deserved that. Another pause. But I'm learning. I'm trying. I looked through the tiny studio window. Students passed outside with yearbooks and iced coffees. Their laughter didn't sting today. I named this episode The Quietest Girl in the Room, not because I still am, but because I'm finally ready not to be. I stopped recording, hit save, uploaded, done. No dramatic reveal, no viral moment. But the next morning, someone left a sticky note on my locker again. "You're louder than you think." Another girl, Emma from drama club, Asked where to find the podcast. I told her. At lunch, Jules walked past my table. For a second she slowed, then kept going, and that was okay. Across the room, Caden sat by the window. Rachel from debate leaned into his shoulder, laughing at something on his phone. I didn't look away, didn't ache. The sun caught my tray. The apple looked better this time, no bruises. I took a bite, tart, real. After school, I walked home slow, let the wind hit my face. Didn't check my phone, didn't need to. I'd said what I came to say, and finally, I heard myself.